Hello friends, welcome to the mat this morning. My name is Selina and I will be guiding our practice today as we flow together. To start off our practice, all you will need is a soft surface if you have a mat, awesome, or a towel. And then if you do have yoga blocks, going ahead and grabbing those as well, but they won't be mandatory for our practice today. If you would like to connect with the music, the playlist that I will be using is 7:30 Yoga, and my username on Spotify is just Selina Russell. Beautiful. So starting off our playlist, the first song is called Heavenly. So as we just begin here on our mats, coming in to a child's pose. So bringing our knees out nice and wide, toes to touch, and then slowly dropping our sit bones towards our heels as we walk our hands towards the top of the mat. And immediately beginning to feel a stretch along the back body as we place the forehead to surrender on the earth. As we come onto the mat, dropping in, maybe slowly beginning to walk the fingertips farther away from the crown. And taking a nice full deep inhale through the nose. Exhale, melting yourself onto the mat. Beautiful. Let's do that again as we inhale through the nose, filling up. And exhale, letting it go. As you just begin to come here onto the mat, beginning to recognize, dropping in, and noticing what's arising for you right now. Maybe is it physically in the hips? Is this place in the body beginning to speak to you, telling you certain things? Maybe like this is too much right now. Or maybe the mind is beginning to wander, chattering, and feeling like you can't turn it off. Just beginning to accept and notice what is here. And beginning to send our breath to these areas that are speaking loudest. Taking an inhale. And out the mouth, exhale. Beautiful. Inhale, drawing that navel into the spine. And audibly exhale. Last time as we inhale, fill up the breath. So much so that let's hold it up at the top. And audibly pouring out the breath out the mouth, releasing something here. Beautiful. Just beginning to walk the hands even farther away from the head. And this time let's begin to just crawl our hands over to the right edge of the mat, placing the left palm on top of the right, still releasing the forehead onto the earth, and keeping both shoulders equally pressing towards the ground. Getting a nice stretch along the back of your left shoulder and back body. And walking the hands through center to the opposite side. Beautiful. Finding a nice release and a stretch along the right side now. And coming back through center, let's just begin to rise the head, keeping the knees exactly where they are. As we walk the hands now to the top edge of the mat, releasing our, maybe even our chin, but mainly releasing our heart and our gaze right between the thumbs. This is called heart melting pose. So basically feeling exactly what this pose is called. Beautiful. Taking another nice full deep inhale through the nose and exhale, releasing a little deeper here. Beautiful. Walking our hands just right under the shoulders. Maybe finding some rocks from side to side. Maybe some child's pose bounces up and down towards the heels and then coming forward. Just beginning to tap into this intuitive movement, waking up the hips, waking up the entire body here. So maybe finding some circles in both directions, honoring both sides. And just beginning to explore the body. So as we show up on our mat, we're always showing up a little bit different. And beginning to become curious with our practice. Beautiful. From here, let's just begin to slide those knees right underneath right underneath the hips. Keeping our hands exactly where they are, finding that nice starfish shape in the hands, pressing each fingertip into the earth. And plugging in our shoulders, wrapping our triceps in towards one another. Beautiful. Finding a nice straight spine all the way from the tip of the tailbone out through the crown. And with an inhale, just beginning to coil in, pressing and sending that belly button in towards the spine as we inhale here on our cat. And exhale, releasing on our cow, pressing our heart forward, maybe sending our gaze upward. Inhale. Finding that arching of the spine. And exhale as you release it, letting it go. Beautiful. Inhale, last time here. Sending that middle vertebrae as high as you can towards the ceiling. And exhale as we counter one last time. Sending our heart forward, gazing upward. Beautiful. Finding that straight spine once again. As we just begin to tuck our right toes and pressing our heel to the back of the mat. From here, maybe beginning to find a nice lift. And then once you find your balance, beginning to reach out that left hand, that opposite hand, towards the wall in front of you. So from here, immediately maybe beginning to feel an activation of that core, and if not, beginning to tighten up that core, so pulling it up and in. Staying nice and long in one straight line, having that heel flex, and those fingertips continuing to reach out. Taking an inhale here, and on our exhale, just doing exactly what we just did before. So finding that cat pose as we take our elbow and knee to touch. Beautiful. Inhale as we get nice and long once again. And exhales will pulls us in. Finding that heel, or that elbow to knee. Beautiful. Extending nice and long once again. And on this last time, we're going to take that elbow and knee to touch. This time, maybe sliding that elbow up the thigh, coming in towards that hip crease, really beginning to feel that core turn on here and speak to you. Staying here for one more inhale. And exhale, getting nice and long, flushing it out. Beautiful. From here, beginning to find an upward facing bow. So maybe you want to just stay here. This is the first layer. That's absolutely okay. Maybe you want to begin to take a bend in that knee and finding a nice reach back of our left hand. Finding that second layer. From here, if you want to find a bind, reaching for the inside arch of your foot and then beginning to press your toes towards the sky, pressing that shin towards the back wall, keeping that shoulder feeling open as it wraps open, and keeping that gaze right down to the mat, keeping that length along the back of the neck. Staying here for one more inhale as we continue to press those toes away from the earth. And exhale, letting it all go. Coming back into this tabletop, getting some rocks from side to side in those hips, and just beginning to notice how this right side feels from the left. And now preparing to move on to our left side as we stack our hips, stacking our shoulders once again in this tabletop, tucking our left toes and pressing our heel towards the back edge of the mat, setting up here. Beginning to lift our heel just to the height of the glute as we send that right hand, our opposite hand, forward in front of us, finding that reach. Finding an inhale as we get nice and long, feeling that core turn on. And exhale is what coils us in, pulling that knee to touch that elbow. Beautiful inhale sends us nice and long. And exhale. Beautiful inhale, getting nice and long. And this is it, friends. This is when we hold it, keeping that knee and elbow to touch. Maybe taking that elbow up the thigh. If you did so on the opposite side, coming up towards that hip crease. Feeling those abs fire up and speak to you. For one more inhale. And exhale, letting it all go. Beautiful, getting that flush out once again. From here, maybe beginning to bend that knee, finding that opening of the shoulder. Maybe taking that bind as we prepare to send off those toes to our upward facing bow. Getting that length along the back of the neck. Continuing to keep those toes activated, keeping the top of that leg activated as it continues to press to the back wall, toes shifting to the sky for one more inhale. And exhale, whew, letting it all go. Great job, you guys. Just beginning to notice the balance you created in the body. Now we feel a little bit more balanced, right? Awesome. And now from here, let's just begin to tuck both toes. Beginning to wake up that core a little bit more. And from here, beginning to find a hover of the shins off the earth. So we're still creating that tabletop shape in the body, right? Nothing has really changed. We're still keeping our shoulders stacking right over our wrists. Our hips are still stacking right over our knees. However, now our knees are just floating. Our shins are hovering parallel right off the mat. Our gaze is still right between the thumbs, and we have nice length along the entire back body. Beautiful, really beginning to pull that core, that navel up and in for one more inhale. And exhale, just beginning to walk out in our downward facing dog. Oh, it feels so good, right? So just beginning to pedal out here, walking, dropping one heel at a time, getting length along each leg as you oppositely bend one knee. Beautiful. And then from here, finding stillness in our stance, in our downward facing dog, is just as you just walk out those feet as wide as the hips. Internally rotating those elbows in and allowing that neck and head to fully surrender here. Maybe taking some rocks of the head from side to side, taking our yeses and nos. And continuing to shift our hips nice and high, just like those mountain peaks. Keeping our gaze right between our thighs. Taking an inhale here through the nose. And an exhale out the mouth. Beautiful. Just beginning to find some ripples of the spine, backward and forward. So with an inhale, beginning to slowly ripple the spine, coming forward here into the top of the plank. Continuing to warm up the body. Beautiful. Inhale as we slowly reverse that ripple, dropping those heels once again in that downward facing dog. Beautiful. Inhale as we slowly come high on the toes, one vertebrae at a time brings us forward. And sending that tailbone high, dropping our heels. Beautiful. Inhale. And exhale. Inhaling. And exhaling. Inhaling comes forward. And exhale. Beautiful. Taking one more inhale, connecting that breath to movement here. And exhale. Sends our hips high and drops our heels back in our downward facing dog. Great job, friends. From here, let's just step those feet out nice and wide, coming on to the outer edges of the mat as we just walk our hands to our feet. Beautiful. So finding softness here in our knees. Maybe beginning to find some rocks from side to side. Just releasing here, keeping a heavy bend in the knees as well. Maybe finding our thumbs in our creases of the elbows as you find a ragdoll. Beautiful, friends. And then from here, just beginning to toe heel our feet in right underneath the hips. Keeping a heavy bend in our knees. And from here, let's just begin to plant our right hand or fingertips in front of our right foot as we keep that heavy bend in that right knee, slowly beginning to send length along the back of our left leg as we slowly open up to the left wall. Beautiful. Sending that gaze up to the sky. And almost feeling like I'm pulling up your left wrist. So immediately feeling that length come into that arm, picking your shoulder up. Beautiful. Coming back through center. Switching out the bends in the knees as we now open up to the right wall. And almost feeling like you're trying to press the top of your hand onto the wall behind you. Beautiful, coming back through center. As we inhale, slowly roll to rise all the way up. Getting a nice roll of the shoulders down the back body. Fixing whatever you need to find your comfortable stance here. And feeling your shoulders roll open and down. Taking an inhale through the nose. And exhale out the mouth. Inhaling and exhaling. Beautiful. Let's take our hands into heart center and drawing our thumbs right at the heart, finding our samasthiti. Tapping into our intention of our practice. Taking another full deep inhale through the nose. And this time on our exhale, taking a heavy bend in the knees as we sweep our arms open and up. And exhale, goalposting the arms as we shift the hips forward, finding our first back bend. Inhale as we rise back through center. And exhale, hinging forward as you bow to yourself here in a forward fold. Inhale as we plant the hands to the fronts of the legs, lifting through the heart in this halfway lift. And exhale as we come back onto the hands, this time slowly walking your hands to the top of the mat, finding yourself back in the top of a plank. Staying active in those heels, keeping that booty nice and low, so not up here and not down here, but just right in line with the shoulders, having slight rounding between the shoulder blades here as we keep that neck nice and long. Taking another inhale through the nose. And exhale as you let something go here. As we move through our first connecting vinyasa, you have the option to drop down onto the knees in a tabletop, rising in an upward facing dog or cobra. Or from here, maybe following me as I hinge forward on my tippy toes, bending my elbows, coming into this low push-up called a chaturanga, flipping onto the tops of my feet, keeping my tops of the thighs lifted off the earth and shoulders wrapping back in this upward facing dog. Beautiful. From here, retucking the toes, setting the hips high as I return in this downward facing dog. Beautiful. Taking an inhale through the nose here and an exhale out the mouth. Flowing through our sunays a little bit faster now. Stepping up with our right foot to the top of the mat and then the left. Inhale is our halfway lift, finding that flat back. And exhale as we fold, keeping our legs nice and long. Inhale as we root and rise, rising our energy and bringing our hands into the heart space. Taking a nice big bend in the knees, sweeping our arms up and open, finding our back bend on the exhale. Inhale as we rise and exhale as we hinge at the hips, finding our forward fold. Inhale is when we find that halfway lift, reaching through the crown. And exhale, taking our hands back onto the earth, stepping back with the right and left foot, moving through your journey, your choice of movement, to meet me back in our downward facing dog. Taking an exhale, noticing how the right side feels in comparison to the left. And then with that inhale, let's step up with the left foot to the top of the mat. And then the right. Inhale, finding that flat back. And exhale to our fold. Inhale as we root and rise, rising our energy, gathering that into the heart space. Taking a nice big bend in the knees once again, sweeping our arms up and open, back bending here. And inhale, reaching to the sky, option to swan dive down over two straight legs. In this forward fold, inhale is that halfway lift once again. Taking our hands back down to the earth, stepping back with the left foot this time, and then the right in our plank. Moving through our journey, either through that cobra or upward facing dog to our downward facing dog. Beautiful, friends. Finding ourselves back in this downward facing dog. Taking an inhale here through the nose. And exhale out the mouth. Beautiful, beginning to flow. So let's rise that right heel off the earth, continuing to step into that left leg. And as we find ourselves in this three-legged dog, making sure that we aren't dumping into that left side. So keeping both hips nice and square, right toes are still pointing to the earth, and we're active in that right heel. So lifting it nice and high off the earth towards the sky. Beautiful. With that exhale, let's come forward, bringing our shoulders over the wrists as we pull the knee into the chest for this tiger curl. Taking an inhale and exhale, setting it nice and high behind us once again. Beautiful. With our inhale, we're just going to step it through right between the hands, finding a low lunge. So wiggling ourselves into this low lunge. Let's just take a few moments to kind of floss out the hips, wake up this right side, and just notice how this right side is showing up in our practice on our mat. So immediately I can notice, wow, my right hamstring is extremely tight. So just noticing whatever maybe is uncommon or different than when you practiced before. And then from here, keeping that knee bent right over the ankle, planting our left hand as we slowly peel open, finding a twisted lunge. Feeling our outer right thigh peel back as we keep our hips square. Taking our hand back down to the earth And with an inhale, sweeping our arms up off the earth, finding our Anjaneyasana crescent pose. Keeping our knee bent still over the ankle, knitting in the ribs here, not flaring them out, but keeping them knitted in as we reach our fingertips to the sky, biceps framing the ears. Staying here in this nice high lunge. And from here, still keeping those hips square. So maybe you need to take your thumb into the crease of that right hip, feeling it draw back as this left hip shifts forward. Keeping that squareness here. For one more inhale. And exhale. Beautiful. From here, let's just find a nice sweep of those arms. So it's taking our pinkies nice and high to the sky. Triceps are active here. Inhale as we reach back up. And exhale, taking that hinge forward at the hips. Inhaling as we rise. And exhale as we hinge. Beautiful. Let's stay here. So keeping that length through the back of the arms as well as the back body, reaching through the crown. Staying nice and high on those toes, but active in that back heel as well. From here, let's begin to just take the hands into the hearts. So feeling your thumbs press into the heart as you continue to get nice and long here. Really beginning to feel that right glute wake up and speak to you, at least mine is. And then slowly beginning to find a twist. So let's rotate, taking a hook of the elbow right outside your right knee. Keeping your the stacking of hand over hand, wrist over wrist, and lifting your right shoulder. Taking an inhale through the nose and an exhale out the mouth. Beautiful. Let's inhale, slowly come back out of it. Coming back into this prayer, sweeping our arms back in this airplane, and reaching back in our crescent lunge. Beautiful, taking our hands down to frame our front foot as we step it back, or maybe keep it lifted, flowing through our journey to a downward facing dog. So immediately I can feel a dramatic difference between both sides in my body. Definitely feeling that right side a lot more wakened up, and I don't know, it's a lot more tired. So let's balance that out here. Beginning to take a lift through that left heel, feeling that squareness come into the body so we're not dumping into that right side, but keeping a flex of that left heel as it continues to reach itself towards the sky. Beautiful. Exhale as we find that tiger curl, bringing that knee into the chest. And beginning to send it back high to the sky once again. And let's step it through right between the hands. Beautiful job, friends. So just like how we did on the opposite side, let's just begin to floss out this left side. Taking a bend and straighten of the leg. Connecting each breath to each movement here. And also, just like how you took that observation on the other side, doing so on this side. And then keeping that bend of that knee over the ankle, anchoring our right hand as we twist to the left side this time. Feeling that outer thigh peel back, keeping the hips on that one linear line. And taking the hand back down to the earth. As we inhale, sweep our arms up and overhead, finding ourselves in our Anjaneyasana. So once again, if you need to take your thumb into the left hip crease this time to just help remind your hips what it feels like to square up here. Continuing to reach those fingertips towards the sky, settling our shoulders down the back body as we knit in the rib cage once again. Inhale as we reach, and exhale, sinking in. Energetically squeezing our thighs together as we try to keep a balance between weight in both feet. Inhale as we continue that reach. And exhale as we sweep. Finding that gaze down towards the toes. Inhale, reaching back up. And exhale, airplaning the arms. Inhaling, sending them nice and high once again. And exhale as we hinge forward with that torso once again. So as you continue to keep those fingertips reaching towards the back wall, triceps active here, let's now begin to send our hands right at prayer, right at our heart center. Getting nice and long here. This is setting us up before we begin to rotate to hook our elbow outside our knee. So once again, you can now notice and see that I'm stacking my wrist over my elbow and then stacking the opposite. So it's all stacking here, right? And then slowly beginning to lift the heart as you slowly peel yourself to open a little bit deeper. Still keep trying to keep those thumbs at heart center. Finding an opening of this top shoulder for one more inhale. And exhale as we slowly come out of it. I know I feel my left glute too. Sending our arms back in that airplane and reaching back up in our crescent. To take a frame of our hands and flowing through to our downward facing dog. Great job, friends. As we arrive back in this downward facing dog, let's come nice and high on our tippy toes, bending our knees back and finding ourselves to the top of the mat as we inhale, halfway lift, and exhale as we fold. Inhale for a nice big rise, bringing our hands right at the heart space, coming into a bend with those knees once again, sweeping our arms up and open, and goal posting the arms as we shift those hips forward. Inhale, rising back up through center, and exhale, hinging at those hips for the fold. Inhale for that halfway lift, and exhale, planting the hands as we step or float back, moving through our connecting vinyasa to a downward facing dog. Beautiful, sending those hips nice and high to the sky once again as we prepare to flow. Once again, so starting off on that right side, sending our heel off the earth in our three-legged dog. Let's bring that knee into the nose, pulling it in, sending it back up to the sky. Beautiful, doing it again. Let's bring that knee into the chest and sending it nice and high. Bringing it back into the chest one last time here and sending it nice and high. Let's step it through right between the hands. Anchoring that left hand as we peel open in our twisted lunge. Taking that hand back down to the earth as we root and rise into our Anjaneyasana. Exhale as we sweep our arms back, finding that airplane. Just once this time, let's take our hands right at heart center, finding that prayer once again, and that length all the way from the tip of our tailbone out the crown. Beautiful, slowly beginning to find that revolve as we hook our elbow outside the knee once again. And this time, let's take our gaze towards that big toe. So getting nice and light in this back foot, we're just going to slowly step up into a revolved Utkatasana at the top of our mat. Squaring up our knees, keeping our shins parallel with one another, still keeping that stacking of wrist over wrist, opening of that top shoulder. And with an inhale, let's rise into our Utkatasana. So just beginning to settle in, getting nice and comfortable here, having a nice scoop of that pelvis underneath, sitting nice and deep back into the heels, enough so you can even look down and see the wiggle of your toes lift off the earth. Bringing your shoulders up and down the back body, Opening of the heart, reaching of the fingertips away from the face. Sinking here for one more inhale. And exhale. Beautiful. Let's get nice and light in that left foot once again as we lift the foot off the earth, beginning to bend the knee, taking that heel towards the glute. Beginning to send it nice and long to step back into our Anjaneyasana. Beautiful. So we're right where we began, right? We're nice and high on the ball of the back foot, reaching through the fingertips. And from here, let's just send our hands down to frame our front foot, stepping it back and flowing to our downward facing dog. Great job, friends. Coming back into this downward facing dog. Let's inhale, rise our left leg, and exhale, pulls it into the nose. Beautiful, sending it nice and high once again, and bring it into the nose. Sending it nice and high last time, as we pull the knee into the nose for this tiger curl. Sending it away from the mat once again to step it right between the hands, finding a low lunge. Taking our twisted lunge here, reaching our left fingertips towards the ceiling and taking the hand back down to the earth as we root and rise in our Anjaneyasana. Just sinking nice and deep here for a second as we inhale for that lengthen with the arms. Exhale, hinging forward, finding our airplane. Staying here this time once again, keeping that length along the back body and taking our hands right at the heart as we slowly revolve, taking that hook of the elbow outside the knee. Staying with that stacking in the wrists as we now send our gaze down to the big toe, getting nice and light in the back foot once again to slowly step up in our revolved Utkatasana at the top of the mountain once again. Squaring up our knees, our shins, and sinking a little bit deeper here in this chair. Beautiful. Inhale now as we sweep the arms back up, finding our traditional chair pose. Scooping the pelvis under to drop that seat even lower, keeping that heart open. That chest lifted, the reach of the fingertips away from the face. And then beginning to sink that weight back into our left foot as we rise the right foot off the earth, bending our heel towards the glute to take that big step to the back of the mat, meeting me back in this Anjaneyasana. Keeping that reach of the fingertips towards the sky as we float our hands down to frame our front foot, stepping back and moving through our journey to our downward facing dog once again. Beautiful job, friends. Taking an inhale, filling up here, and exhale out the mouth. Getting nice and high on our tippy toes, bending our knees, coiling back, easing to the top of the mat. And meeting me there as we inhale, reach through the crown, and exhale as we fold. Taking a bend in our knees, bringing our big toes to touch as we sweep our arms up and take our hands to the heart. So from here, I just want you to really begin to get comfortable with that scooping of the pelvis. It can feel kind of awkward and weird, but rather than sticking our sit bones out like that, right? We want to have a nice scoop of the pelvis. So from there, we're activating the core, not getting nice and lazy there. From here, let's begin to separate the hands as we sweep them back, finding that airplane. So wrapping and rolling those shoulders back, sending our pinkies towards the back wall. From here, beginning to inhale as we lift.
And exhale, sweeping our arms back, this time coming nice and high on the toes. Exhale, coming onto the heels, reaching our hands up and bringing them to that airplane, finding that lift of the heels off the earth. Last time as we inhale and exhale, staying here. So keeping that length in the back of the arms, still keeping that chest lifted. Staying here for one more inhale, getting as high as you can on the toes, and dropping the heels back onto the earth, finding a bind with the hands as we straighten and fold over the legs. Releasing the neck, maybe getting some rocks and shakes back and forth. And then releasing the hands onto the earth. As we inhale, find that halfway lift. And exhale, planting the hands, stepping or floating back as we move through our journey to our downward facing dog. Beautiful job, friends. Preparing to move through our sequence one last time. And with an inhale, reaching our right heel towards the sky. Exhale as we bring that knee into the nose. Staying here this time. From here, as we keep that knee crunching in to the nose, let's exhale, lower it to dip, keeping that hover off the earth. Inhale, pulls it back into the chest, and exhale, hovers it. Inhale, pulls it back in. Last time as we hover it, and last time as we pull it in, reaching it to the sky to step it right between the hands. Whew, great job, friends. Finding a twist in our lunge and our hand back down to the earth, rooting and rising in our Anjaneyasana. Exhale as we sweep, finding our prayer to revolve, hooking that elbow outside the knee and stepping to the top of the mat in our chair, reaching on up with our chair, sitting into our heels. Once again, standing into that standing into our right foot as we reach our left knee into the chest, finding our single-legged Tadasana. Standing through the four corners of the right foot, and then from here, slowly beginning to find a hinge forward of the torso, as we come into our warrior three. So options here. Maybe you want to find the hands right at heart center. Maybe you want to take the arms back in the airplane. Or maybe you want to find your fullest extension of warrior three. Keeping your hips square, keeping your heel to the height of the glute, all the way one line from the heel out through the crown. For one more inhale. And exhale, coming back onto the ball of the back foot, rising back in this Anjaneyasana. And let's flush it out here, finding a warrior two. Inhale as we reverse our warrior. And exhale, cartwheeling the arms down, framing our front foot, stepping it back, moving through our journey to our downward facing dog. Meeting me with our hips nice and high. Beautiful, friends. Last time through this last side, let's balance it all out. Inhale as we rise our left heel off the mat. Exhale as we pull it in. Bringing that knee crunching into the nose. Staying here once again this time as we drop the shin to hover off the mat. Inhale, pulls it in. Exhale, dropping for that hover. Inhale, pulls it in. Exhale for the hover. Inhale, pulls it in last time to send it to the sky. And stepping it right between the hands. Beautiful job, friends. Finding that twist on this left side. Taking that hand back down to the earth as we inhale, root and rise in our crescent. Exhale for the sweep of our arms. Taking our hands right at heart center as we slowly revolve, hooking the elbow outside the knee. And stepping to the top of the mat in our twisted chair. Let's inhale, sweep those arms up, stepping into our left foot once again. As we inhale, pull the knee into the chest, finding our single-legged Tadasana now on this left side. And exhale as we slowly find that hinge forward, almost like a pendulum, pressing through our right heel, finding whatever variation of Warrior 3 that works best for us right now on this side. Having a micro bend in that standing knee, squareness of the hips and those toes facing the earth. For one more inhale and exhale, taking that big step to the back of the mat, reaching on up in this crescent. And flushing it all out once again as we find that heel to arch alignment in our Warrior 2. Inhale, flips the palm for our reverse. And exhale, cartwheeling our hands down, framing our front foot, moving and flowing through our final and last connecting Vinyasa. Meeting me with our hips high. Finding ourselves in our downward facing dog. Taking an inhale through the nose. And an audible exhale as you surrender back onto the earth in a child's pose. Great job, friends. From here, maybe coming in a reverse namaste as you bring those elbows to frame the temples, dropping the thumb to the base of the head. Getting a nice stretch along the triceps and the upper back. And then from here, coming back onto the hands as we slowly walk our hands towards the top edge of the mat. Dropping ourselves back into this heart melting pose. Maybe even releasing the chin onto the mat. And then from here, just walking ourselves back up. Coming over the shins onto the sit bones. And from here, let's just keep a bend in the knees, maybe finding a windshield wiper motion in the legs. Awesome, and now time to stretch it all out. So let's get nice and long in those legs, curling the toes towards the shins, and anchoring our sit bones onto the earth as we sit the spine up nice and tall. Inhale as we reach up through the fingertips. And exhale, surrendering over the legs, grabbing on to whatever is available here in your fold. So whether that's the soles of the feet, the shins, the ankles, or maybe taking it nice and easy just by grabbing peace fingers around the big toes, getting a nice fold. Beautiful, just slowly rolling back up. And then from here, let's pull our right knee into the chest, wrapping our forearms around the shin, giving it a nice squeeze as we continue to sit the spine up nice and tall. And planting our foot right outside the thigh as we use this right hand as a second spine, helping that length along the back, and hooking our left elbow outside the knee. Finding this spinal twist as we gaze past the right shoulder. Beautiful, coming back through center. And then just switching out those legs. So from here, getting nice and long in the right to pull that left into the chest. Giving it a nice squeeze. And planting it right outside the thigh as we use this hand as a second spine, hooking our elbow outside the knee and gazing past our shoulder. Beautiful. Let's come back through center. Bringing both knees in, planting the soles of the feet onto the earth. Let's just wrap our forearms around both shins, drawing the forehead into the knees. Getting a nice surrender here. And then from here, slowly releasing all the way onto the back body. So as you come onto the backs, maybe you want to find a happy baby, so reaching for the outer soles of the feet. Maybe rocking from side to side. Maybe keeping this stillness. From here, maybe finding peace fingers around the big toes, getting one heel to extend the leg all the way out. Finding your ninja kicks. Or maybe finding a nice straddle pose as you take both legs nice and long. And then from here, just moving through whatever pose you wish to move through for your body to feel fully satisfied and fully awakened through your practice today. Whether that is a shoulder stand, some variations of bridge pose, whatever it may be, just allowing your body to feel fully satisfied, fully awakened and softened on your mat. And then from here, slowly coming out of whatever pose you chose, bringing your knees into your chest and finding that wrap of the forearms around the shins once again as you draw the forehead in towards the knees. Finding your biggest and deepest, fullest breath of air. And right when you think you cannot hold it any longer, taking another full deep inhale through the nose. And exhale as you finally release into your resting pose, Shavasana.
From here, friends, as you slowly feel yourself return to consciousness, just noticing and recognizing how much the body needed and craved returning to this state of bliss, this state of peace, and honoring yourself for showing up on your mat for yourself. Beginning to slowly invite movement little by little, maybe starting off by wiggling the fingers and toes, rolling the wrists and ankles, and blinking the eyes to open. Maybe finding a nice big good morning stretch as you reach at opposite ends of the mat. And then slowly finding yourself rolling over onto your right side in a fetal position. To slowly press yourself up into a nice comfortable seat, meeting me here on our mats with our hands connected right at the heart center. Taking an inhale here through the nose. And a cleansing exhale out the mouth. From here, drawing our thumbs to our brow, honoring and acknowledging the true teacher within, our inner wisdom and intuition. And in sealing our practice today, I bow towards each and every single one of you, honoring the love and light within. And I pray you experience only but pure peace, bliss, love, light, and happiness. Namaste.